Right, here we are on Windsor Lake. We've left our first campsite where we camped last night. We took a 15-minute paddle in there and did a little hike this morning, and here's the surrounding scenery as Daryl does a little bit of paddling and gives me a little bit of a break.
It's important to give the old guys a break every once in a while.
Yeah. So here's Windsor Lake for you. And of course we're wishing that the clouds would have gone away, but they haven't. This is what we're paddling into. And I have to say that we've been pretty lucky because we've had very little rain, lots of cloud, but very little rain. Some, but nothing to really get too worried about. And the temperature's a good temperature for exercise, so I'm liking that too. So, Windsor, maybe our first portage. Proceed, Mr. Piece of Cake.
If I can feel it on the back of my neck. That's the bone.
Daryl shows how it's done. We only have to do this for 2.5 kilometers, folks.
Well,
Plus,
this is 0.7 for this thing.
oh, and there's all that gear that has to follow. Here we are, starting off after our first portage, starting off at the top of Dodd Lake, and when we head through that little inlet, it's going to open up and be a very big lake. We have to canoe 7 kilometers down to our next portage, so off we go. Are you ready, Mr. Sturdy?
Hi, I'm ready.
Okay. It is a pretty trail. I'm about to get under this canoe, and Daryl's going to take over the video here and show you what I look like when I'm carrying a canoe. Oh, and you can tell him what's going on.
So you're going to flex your muscles. There he is, disappearing.
Flexing his muscles, getting up under the canoe. Oh my God.
There he is. Look at that. Mr. Strongman.
And
Charles
we're off
Atlas,
on
watch
the
out. There he goes. Off into the wilderness. Bye, Rich.
Okay, just to give you a little bit of a feel of some of the trail that I just carried that canoe over, here's what we're looking at, and I'll show you a couple of the sections. So you just kind of walk along here, and I carried it for, maybe 1/2 kilometer, not quite, and the portage that we have to do from here to the next lake is 2.5 kilometers, so what we do is we each carry the canoe for a couple of stations and leave our gear where we picked it up, and then we go back and get our beer, and our beer. Well, I'd love to go back and get a beer. We go back and get our gear and keep leapfrogging our gear in front of our canoe, and Daryl takes the canoe next, and I pick up some gear and go, and blah blah blah. So there's a bunch of these boardwalks, and one of the, in this case, so you can see they have these nice little treads on them, because in this rain culture, if you don't have those treads, you're slipping all over the place. Now, unfortunately, right next to us is this creek, which probably follows the portage most of the way, but there must be some reason not to go down it, and I think there's falls or something like that further on. So I'll just take you to the end of this boardwalk. And that's pretty much what I see when I'm carrying the canoe. I got a few more. And if you look up in there just, come in a little bit closer there, you can see the next station where I actually went past that one. We've been doing 2s instead of 1s. Okay. So here's a nice boardwalk that I just went over. And as you can see, it's in pretty good shape. They've actually done some replacement of the boards here. One of our big complaints so far has been that there's been very little in the way of maintenance. So it's good to see that they're actually thinking about it, because this trail needs a bunch of maintenance for the portages. So this is a good sign, and we're glad to see this is between Ireland Lake and Nanton Lake. Okay, here we are. We're in this little channel. We've just finished our lunch at the Nanton and we're headed into Nanton Lake. It's a little creek that we navigated and I took some pictures of, and just thought I'd give you a little more canoeing. Daryl's doing his wonderful job in the stern there. Okay, we've managed to get into Horseshoe Lake. We have to head down another 5 kilometers down through there, and then we'll be at our next portage and our campsite for the evening. We're leaving our final portage where Horseshoe River joins Loess Lake, and Daryl's being ever so kind again to just paddle us through this little quiet spot, and you can enjoy the scenery. You can see there's lots of logs and stuff. Water lines on the bank there. Let's kind of home in on that a bit so you can see that. The various lines of levels of water and the sand there. And you can see the kind of weather we've been having.